Yes, we are live. The national championship game is tonight. The Lions do Lions things, and America supports the Buffalo Bills. It's time for your Monday pig pile. It's Watch DA Live.
Your football Sunday has dwindled down to this. Just a bunch of busted bets and broken fantasy dreams. You need this, and we're here for you. Immediate reaction, big opinions, gang tackling. Be one with the channel. It's DA's Sunday Pig Pie. Oink, oink, suckers.
It's a Monday pig pile. Yesterday, the Sunday edition of Watch DA Live was preempted because we said, well, all of America is watching Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, rather. So what are we going to do? Insert ourselves in the middle of the game that 40 million people are going to watch? You know what? Why don't we all take a break and exhale? We'll kick until Monday night. Holiday night for everybody. Nothing going on at this moment. We will get you out before the national championship game kicks off. Notre Dame, Ohio State. We'll do the preview on that coming up shortly, but that's going to kick off at 7:45 Eastern time. So we got about 45 minutes to get this thing going and wrapped up and done for you guys to enjoy college football's national championship game. Okay. Also coming up tonight on the program, as always, last dive bar giveaways, goodies. So to Monday Night Live, why not send us your comments, questions, concerns? If we read them here on the show, we will choose the best of that will get last dive bar swaggeroony, okay? There's how we do it. And as always, if you enjoy coming here on Sunday nights and the occasional Monday, tell your friends, tell your family that this is a good place to come congregate. Weekly, live, chat alongside fellow D-aliens, be one with the channel, laugh, love, discuss sports and other things. Where else would you rather be? All right. So bring everybody aboard in 2025. We'd love to have as many as we can fit underneath this canopy of the mothership. Let's begin with your Furious Five. Beginning of the Furious Five, which is always Fitz Magic. That's right. We always do the best fits of the weekend. This one, I mean, look at some of these. It's playoff edition of Fitz Magic. And we begin with a wide receiver, Xavier Worthy of the Chiefs. Look at that suit. Now, that is a clean-looking suit, right? White with the black print on there. It appears to be either the Prince logo or a chessboard piece. That's looking pretty sweet, pretty slick. That's a very wide receiver-esque suit. I feel like that print, especially with the white, can only be on somebody very thin, very athletic, very in shape. That's not a defensive lineman suit. That's not a nose tackle suit. That's not a right guard suit. That's not a punter suit. That is a wide receiver suit. Well done by Xavier Worthy heading into the AFC Championship game now with the Kansas City Chiefs in his rookie season. Next up, check out the pants on Eagles corner, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Look, now, the 60s, I know the 90s, the 2000s are back. I did not know the 60s were as well. Those look like something that came straight out of Woodstock. You have to love that, especially entering a stadium where snow is on the horizon. Those are not snow pants. Those do not look warm at all. Those do not look insulated in any way, shape, or form. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson does not care. He is here for the style, and so am I. Nice job by C.J. And finally, how about this? We have the one and only man who is, this segment is named after, Ryan Fitzpatrick. More like Fitzmagic. He entered the stadium over in Buffalo last night, getting the crowd pumped up. He also, if you saw this, ends up going shirtless, as he is notably known for doing. And so a shirtless Ryan Fitzpatrick walking out in front of somebody with buffalo horns and Zubaz pants. That's about as good as it gets right there. So Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, who this segment is named after, is the day's best fashion yesterday on a playoff Sunday. Nice job. Okay. Next up. Now, do we have video on this, Aiden? Did you say? My brain's all scrambled there. Or that was the video, right? Because he cheered on the crowd.
Oh, no, there's more.
Oh, there's more. Okay. I'm glad I didn't blow through this. So now we're going to toss to the video of him actually getting the crowd all fired up last night in Western New York, where, of course, he's a conquering hero despite never having played in a playoff game with the Bills. That one random year they made the postseason before Josh Allen was in Nathan Peterman year, I believe. And so here is Fitzmagic last night at Orchard Park. And more Wolverine or wildebeest or something even furrier and hairier. Ryan Fitzpatrick conjuring all of the buffalo he possibly can summon and getting that crowd fired up shirtless on a night where temperatures began in the teens and dropped into the single digits. That's a man's man right there with a lumberjack beard, a heart of steel, and blood coursing through his veins. That is colored Zubaz. Speaking of, have I shown you my Josh's Jacks? If you guys missed my Bills recap last night on this channel, you can go back and watch it, but I began by eating Josh's Jacks. You'll never believe this. Katie Lindendahl gave me this box of cereal back in the spring. Remember when she dropped by my radio show on Sirius XM to talk about the eclipse? Well, she was going to perform at the Erie Seawolves on Eclipse Day. She was going to perform as a country music star, which she is. Well, she dropped by the studio that day and brought me Josh's Jacks, and I did not open them until the football season. In fact, I didn't open them until like 3 weeks ago. I kept them in my locker at work at Sirius XM, and I broke it open for the playoffs. And I tried them, I tried them when I opened them up. I popped a few in my car ride home. Not bad. And last night, kind of like a celebratory champagne toast with the Bills beating the Ravens last night, I dipped into the stash once again. So if you're wondering what the Zubaz-inspired box of Josh's Jacks tastes like, it tastes exactly like Apple Jacks, except they're blue and they're red. So these are knockoff Apple Jacks, which, by the way, one of my favorite cereals of all time, Apple Jacks. So I'm totally in on Josh's Jacks. Says here that it helps support the Children's Hospital of Buffalo. So that's awesome. So if you're in Western New York and they're still selling these bad boys this time of year, because I don't know, maybe it was an April special. That's when I got them. Pick them up. Do good by the kids and Josh Allen, of course. Also, speaking of fashion, how about this Fitzmagic, boys? That's right. That's Dan Campbell. That's Jared Goff, and that's them playing the role of stepbrothers as a Will Ferrell comedy with a Santa hat on Dan Campbell and a Christmas sweater, which I wore to the Secret Santa episode of the PGP, the postgame party on the Sirius XM app a couple of weeks ago. I originally had ordered this online for the holiday party, our office party around Christmas for the listeners to show up down in New York City. However, it didn't arrive in time, so I wore this to the Secret Santa episode. And then, of course, on Saturday, watching the Lions completely implode against the Washington Commanders. So I figured before we get out of here for the season, now that we're putting the tombstone on the 2024 Detroit Lions, I'd break it out one last time. I will tell you, I am completely ashamed to be wearing Jared Goff's face on my chest, on my body right now. I'm especially ashamed that it says DA on the back. This is personalized with Jared Goff's face also on it. I'll always support Dan Campbell. I cannot support Jared Goff, the guy was a complete joke on Saturday. The fumble, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, and overall just chasing and getting all scattershot and desperate. I'm irate at this guy. He was a complete chump on Saturday. That bums me out. And I love Jaden Daniels, but I was completely rooting for and pulling for the city of Detroit and Lions fans who have never had anything good ever besides Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. And even those 2 guys were so sick and tired of the losing, they had to retire early. I'm sorry, Detroit. I'm sorry. I proclaimed on Friday morning's Sirius XM show that the Lions were going to the Super Bowl, and they trailed, I think, in the first quarter of this game. At least by the second quarter, they trailed. So nice prediction by yours truly. Check one there for the Wizard of Odds. Well done, DA. Very well done. All right, next up with the Furious 5. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. They got their man, Ben Johnson. Speaking of the Detroit Lions, Johnson did not have a great night on Saturday. I know that his quarterback threw some bad passes. I recognize that the defense was shredded. At the same time, I thought Ben Johnson's ego got in the way with that trick play late in the game where they hand it off to a wide receiver, Jameson Williams, to throw the most important pass of the season, which ultimately gets picked off. That was so lame. It was so desperate. It was almost as though Ben Johnson was out of tricks and just said, well, we got to do something, right? Because I'm so smart, right? I think that they always wanted Ben Johnson no matter what happened to the playoffs. And he's been a desired commodity for a while now. And if I'm the Bears, yeah, I'm happy about this. I'm happy about going and getting the hottest coordinator on the market despite the early exit by the Lions. I will say this about the job itself. Ben Johnson inherits talent and a good roster, but a massive headache with the history of that organization's ownership and general managing. We'll see if it can finally work in Chicago, where they never seem to have the pieces in place simultaneously, hiring the coach and the GM with the same offseason. Same thing happening now. Caleb Williams looks fine. He doesn't look like Jaden Daniels. The wide receiving core, overrated coming into the season. I think the offensive line needs help. Defense needs help. A lot of part of the roster. I mean, let's face it, the Bears defense was supposed to be one of the best in football coming into the year. I don't think they held up their end of the bargain here either. But by and large, this is a McCaskey family that does things on the cheap, that does things that leave you scratching your head. Why do you think that's the way the NFL works? And again, hiring a coach who the GM inherits. Now, I would imagine any GM is happy to be coming back and getting the hottest coordinator on the market. Fine. But the Chicago Bears are not an easy situation, no matter how much talent they have. It's never been easy. It won't be easy for Ben Johnson. It's interesting. He stays in the division, so he gets the Lions twice a year. That's very interesting. But for Ben, buyer beware. You wanted to be selective on your jobs. And okay, you got a young QB on a rookie contract, a number 1 overall pick with a good roster. But what you also inherit is a headache of an ownership group and a family. Next up with your Furious 5. Let's talk about the loser last night in Buffalo, which was Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar is now 3-5 in the postseason. And he has yet, of course, to advance to a Super Bowl, and he could collect his 3rd MVP trophy this year. I am not one that says Lamar Jackson can never win a Super Bowl because he hasn't already. It has taken future Hall of Fame QBs longer than just the first handful of years to get it done. Namely, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, even Aaron Rodgers. Now, Rodgers was 5 years into his career, but 3 when he finally was starting, which is not all that long. But again, the point is, it isn't like all these guys are Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. And I think that Brady and Mahomes skew the expectation of just about everybody. First of all, everybody's standing in the way, or everybody is being stood in the way by Patrick Mahomes. And so Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, etc., Joe Burrow. The fact that those guys don't have a ring, Burrow, of course, got there. Part of it is you are working and existing and residing in an era where one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time is at the peak of his powers and is collecting all of the trophies. What can you do? You got to be better than the Chiefs, and that's hard. But before you get there, you got to be better than the team that you'll play before the Chiefs. And the Ravens simply weren't last night. And I know that there's been a debate all day long today about whether it was Lamar Jackson's fault or not on Sunday night. Here's the way that I look at it. Lamar Jackson was very good in the second half. And Mark Andrews did him in twice over. Maybe the play calling did as well with 2-point conversions that were not run by Derrick Henry. But the first half of the game is also half of the game in which Lamar Jackson was not good enough. You cannot say last night Lamar Jackson did enough to win because A, they didn't win, but B, an incomplete or an interception and a fumble that snuff out 2 drives of the first half are part of the recipe for what it takes to win. Found yourself down 21-10 at the half. Because of it, Derrick Henry could be limited in the second half. And the Bills have kind of done their job. I don't think this closes the door on Lamar. I think he can win a Super Bowl. I don't worry at all that he's too old or the door has closed. The Ravens are going to be good year after year. Now, you might not get this type of year out of King Henry, but I'm not worried about saying, well, the bus has passed. You'll never catch it again. What I do think, though, you have to admit is last night's performance is not good enough to win because they didn't and because he had 2 crucial, crushing turnovers in the first half of that game. But I will say that you guys know Little Mo's a hero of mine, called my show for years when I was on CBS Sports Radio. He's in a poster behind me, and he's a hero in Baltimore before he passed away, still is a hero in Baltimore. And before he passed, Lamar Jackson was very good to him. Lamar visited him. Lamar invited him to training camp. Lamar had one-on-one time with Little Mo and even had him in the huddle of a Ravens training camp practice where Mo called the play and Lamar Jackson tossed a touchdown. So that tells me a lot about the DNA of Lamar Jackson, which means I'm always rooting for the guy. But no, last night was not good enough to win, but that doesn't mean he can't win. All right, next up on this docket as we fire through the weekend around the NFL. You guys know that I went to Buffalo this football season, and if you didn't, well, I highly encourage you to watch the video of my trip to Buffalo. I went up there for an October game against the Tennessee Titans because, of course, the biggest game on the schedule is Bills and Titans. Now, the reason that we went up there for Bills and Titans was we knew that we wanted to get up there for a Bills game for another time around before the new stadium comes up in 2 seasons. So this was another chance to go see the old stadium, which is just kind of a throwback, and you're never going to quite get it as grimy as that with the new stadium. But also, it was an October day. We said, anything into November, we're rolling the dice on weather and snow. But then also, we wanted a 1:00 kick so that we had the morning to tailgate and the afternoon to go watch some more football and to hang around if we wanted to. And the 1:00 was key because the Bills have played primetime games all over the place. And so we had to pick one of those, and it was that one which we chose. And I'm glad that we did because we went to the tailgate beforehand, hosted by Game Day Buffalo. And Kristen in Buffalo joined me. Randy in Ohio joined me. Kristen's mom joined us. I mean, we had some really cool people at the tailgate. And at this tailgate was a young woman named Priscilla. Now, Priscilla was a party rock star, and we didn't know it at the time. But we're at the tailgate, and it's kind of a closed-off event. You had to have a wristband to get in. And we see this young woman shotgun a beer. She takes a big, they were handing out the tall boy beers, and she took a key, stuck it in there, or maybe a set of pliers, stuck it in there and chugged this. And we're like, whoa. So after she was done, I said, hey, would you mind doing that on camera? She's like, sure, just get me a beer. I said, okay. So I grabbed her a Corona, brought her over, and it was one of the big ones. I think it was 18 ounces or 24 ounces. I think it was 18 ounces. Those big, tall boy torpedoes. You want to do it again? She's like, yeah. And she like the gamer that she is, got down on one knee, popped the bottom on that, and just slugged it. And that inspired us all around the tailgate. My goodness, look at this woman do this incredible achievement. This was such a gamer moment by Priscilla. Well, that day, the Bills won easily. And I just want it known that going into that game, the Bills were 4-2. And they had lost to the Ravens badly and the Texans. They did not look like a Super Bowl team. They had done all of that work on the roster in the offseason. They were 4-2. After that game, or from that game on, from when Priscilla punctured that Corona can, the Bills are 11-2. They have beaten the Chiefs. They have beaten the Lions. They have beaten the Ravens in a rematch. And now they're going to Arrowhead for an AFC Championship game. Josh Allen had arguably his best season ever. They're running the football effectively. They're playing turnover-prone defense, which is great. And they're traveling to Arrowhead as a team that can get to a Super Bowl. Everything changed. Everything when Priscilla in Buffalo chugged that beer. If you're a Bills fan watching, or even if you're not, you got to go find this video on this channel. It's the featured video up top. So once we're done here tonight, you can watch it. It's going to blow your hair back. And we saw that day everything, the fortune of the Bills, turn because of one glorious shotgun beer. Wow. Glad I could say I was there for it. Let's go, Buffalo. All right, next up. How about this with college football? Tonight, national championship game, of course. How about this? ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips says that they've got an idea. And the idea is their championship game might feature the second and third place teams of the conference. Wait, what? They're doing so because Rhett Lashley, head coach at SMU, was all worried that by playing in the ACC title game and losing to Clemson, they'd unreasonably risked a spot in the college football playoff. And what the ACC wants to do, obviously, is not throw out there a team that could lose a spot in the playoff by losing in the ACC championship game. And I believe this is actually going to be the future. I think this is actually a really smart idea. If you think about it, you have 4 automatic bids for conference champions. I don't think that's going to change as the format changes with the college football playoff. I think the seeding will change, but automatic bids on the conference champions is going to stay in place. So what you do is you grant the regular season champion your ACC champion bid. Okay, that's the automatic bid, right? And then what you do is you play 2 versus 3, second place versus third place, okay? And you hope that that creates the at-large bid so that one of those 2 get a quality victory in the ACC postseason game, enough to get you in, okay? Now, you could do the other way. You could say the winner of the second and the third team of the conference gets the automatic bid, hoping that your best regular season team gets the at-large. But my guess is a conference does not want to potentially sacrifice the regular season champion not getting in because the committee says it wasn't that impressive of a resume. So what I think you want to do is reward the regular season champ, automatic bid, and then 2 versus 3. So what you have with your conference championship games, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, obviously, and the Big 10, are essentially play-in games. That by virtue of winning those games, it's a 2 versus 3. One of those at-larges is going to come out of that. So I think that's a smart play. I think it's the future. I'd be surprised if the ACC did not do it. And I think actually they'll be the first and the other conferences will follow suit, because what you don't want is teams locked up with bids that go, we don't need to play your conference title game, because then it doesn't matter. You want it to feel like it's big and it's drama. 2 versus 3 helps that out, because then it's like a play-in game. Now, speaking of football, okay, I don't know if you saw this. This was really amazing. that earlier in the weekend, okay, we got some major news. Now, this was breaking news, all right? Breaking news that was on a website called Greater Long Island. I am reading this off of my phone right now. Greater Long Island on Twitter is at Greater LI. Sources tell GLI that WFAN's Peter Schwartz will be appointed as the general manager of a new arena football team scheduled to play at Nassau Coliseum this year. The new league, ENTFLA, rolls off the tongue, brought on Pro Football Hall of Famer Andre Reed as the commissioner. The inaugural season, set to commence in June, will feature teams from Morristown, New Jersey, Danbury, Connecticut, Fitchburg, Mass, and Long Island. Now, if you have been with me on this journey through radio ridiculousness for a while, you know the history of Peter Schwartz and my show. On CBS Sports Radio, Peter was the update anchor on my very first show, January 2nd, 2013. And Peter was our anchor on the show for the first 2 years of our existence, doing overnights on the CBS Sports Radio network. Ultimately, we moved time slots, and Pete stayed with overnights. But Pete would always come back and fill in shifts here and was always kind of a character within the show. And Peter Schwartz has been the most unabashed Arena Football League honk for years, going back to the original Arena Football League team like 25 years ago in New York, where he was the play-by-play voice. I can't believe I'm even looking at this, but again, sources say, which, how does Greater Long Island, a website, blog, Twitter handle, I don't know, have sources about the front office of a yet-to-be-named Arena League team? My guess is the source might be Pete. In fact, Greater Long Island, this Twitter handle, might be Pete's alternate Twitter handle. How is this sources say Schefter on Ben Johnson being hired? What are we doing? Sources tell GLI? Anyway, what Arena League is this? I have no idea. There was an Arena League that played last year with like 4 teams. Their championship game was in a mall at the Meadowlands. This seems to be a different league. Andre Reed's the commissioner? I mean, again, what is going on here? And we've got 4 teams, I guess, in this league from Morristown, New Jersey. Massive media market. You have to have that in the league. Danbury, Connecticut. Again, a league doesn't exist unless you have a stronghold in Danbury. Fitchburg, Mass, which, let's face it, is somewhere in Massachusetts, not Boston. So I don't even know. Maybe Aiden can tell us. And Long Island, because I guess Pete put in the expansion fee, which must have been about $42. So this is pretty massive. We will obviously track this. But Peter Schwartz is going to be appointed general manager of an Arena Football League team. You think I'm making it up? I ain't making this up, boys and girls. It ain't April Fools, and I don't do April Fools anyway. I'm just telling you what I'm telling you. As you might imagine, big time chatter on the old CBS Sports Radio thread. The DA show thread that includes text chat with me, Mraz, Cap, Bogish, and Bellotti. This had it all. Now, Aiden, can you tell me exactly where Fitchburg, Mass is? Where is Fitchburg, state of Massachusetts? Just outside of Boston, right?
So on the north, in between Boston and Worcester, I would say, if correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I believe it's in between Boston and Worcester on the north. So you're almost to the New Hampshire border, which is really expanding the New England's tri-state area footprint of this league, if you think about it.
You're right.
Also, this comment section, we threw a curveball with you guys with this topic tonight, and you have responded. It seems like people are audibly laughing. My favorite, I think, is the long snapper side of this, where Steven just comments that the whole team's going to be long snappers.
This is the beauty of this show. This show is for the hardest of hardcore D-aliens, ones that would appreciate that our original update anchor is now going to become a GM of a yet to be unnamed Arena Football League team. So that the commissioner's Andre Reed does. Andre's got to have, he's got to have more stuff to do. No, is he just a little bored in the spring? Just so fired up about Bills football. He's like, I just need more football on my plate. This is extraordinary. So this is where you will come every week when Arena Football League starts for some type of Canadian Bacon-esque recap of how Peter Schwartz's draft did, Schwartz's free agent signings are doing, how his roster looks.
I can't wait.
I mean, it's going to be what an amazing spring we now have, or whenever this league starts. I have no idea. I mean, what it says they're going to be scheduled to play this year. Oh, commences in June. So this summer, stay tuned to watch DA Live. We are all over the front office spectacle led by Peter Schwartz in an Arena Football League team. That's right. Where else would you rather be? But right here, right now. A little prediction on tonight's national championship game, which kicks off in about 10 minutes from now. We'll get you out of here before that kicks off. I like Ohio State easily in this game. Marcus Freeman's done a hell of a job leading Notre Dame, and this run they've had through the playoff has been incredible. The game against Penn State was one of my favorite college football games of recent memory. It was probably my favorite game of the season. I loved how hard-nosed the running was, how intense the defenses were. The crowds were great. The big plays were fun. In the end, a bad turnover by Drew Aller leads to a game-winning field goal by Notre Dame. The dream continues for the Irish, their first national championship still on the table potentially since 1988. Lou Holtz and Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail. So it was a lot of fun. I think it ends tonight. Ohio State was a preseason favorite to win a national championship for a reason. They got blown off course because of the loss to Michigan. But I just think that the way that they've reassembled here, they are nuclear. They are going to be impossible to slow down. I think it'll take mistakes by Will Howard. It'll take the best night of Notre Dame defense in many, many years. And it will take a fluke play, a lucky play, something like that, a deflection on a pick six, something like that for Notre Dame to win. I just think there's too much horsepower for Ohio State not to win this game and win this game by double digits. So I like the Buckeyes to win tonight relatively easily. Full recap will come up tomorrow morning on my Sirius XM radio show, The DA Show with Babchick, beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Channel 82. Find me there. All right, let's give away some Last Dive Bar swag, shall we? The comment section has been hot, red hot tonight. Thanks, everybody, for coming here on a Monday night. You know, we usually do this on a Sunday, but we decided instead of trying to shoehorn this during Bills and Ravens, the football game of the weekend by most expectations, we would give everybody a breather and do it tonight, including yours truly and Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel. So, Aiden, rip them, okay? What do we got here? What do we got? We'll give away some Last Dive Bar swag.
Well, we'll start with some honorable mentions here, our friends that we know and love here in the chat, including Daly, who just got his Last Dive Bar shirt in the mail. So I'm glad, Daly, that you got your shirt. But I'm also kind of confused, and this is a little selfish, wanting to answer my own question. But he has this Malcolm in the Middle theory that, you know, yours truly shows up, parachutes in to produce the show. Is Malcolm here today? And to explain the geography of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, Malcolm in the Middle is really clearing this all up. So I'm asking, for the whole platform and for all the D-aliens watching, do I look like Malcolm? Is it the hair? Is it my background? Is it the AI painted beard that some people think I have? No, I just like to keep it very clean. There was a comment, not this week, but last week, I think previously, that somebody compared my facial hair to Billy Joccolone's tattooed buzz cut. They think it's just like tattooed on here. That is unfortunately not the case. I try to keep good care of it, but I wonder, do I look like this guy, the kid? I'm struggling for answers here.
I don't know. I don't really think you do. I'd like to know what the reference is to. I mean, Malcolm in the Middle was starring Frankie Muniz, and I don't think you look like Frankie Muniz. I don't know about the little kid. Was that Malcolm or was Frankie Malcolm? I think Frankie was probably Malcolm, right? Because he was the middle child.
Frankie was, and I'm doing the same thing as you, doing a quick Google search before I come on camera here. Daly just writes in, it's everything. So that helps me, but it also doesn't help.
All right, very good, Daly.
So that's
just all-encompassing. It's everything about Malcolm in the Middle that makes you Malcolm in the Middle. All right.
That's gonna be my new bar trick. That's gonna be my new pickup line. Hey, did you know that somebody thought I looked like Malcolm in the Middle?
Nice.
And acted like him too. But no, those are our honorable mentions, and of course our Peter Schwartz story comments galore. Thank you to all of you. But I'd like to reward our last sidebar winner tonight to a foul and a D-alien. Morning massive foul. Perfect day for the sweater. And just goes to show how you have your own little Fitz magic going today. I got my Harvard sweatshirt going for Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Harvard alum. And Morning Massive Foul is a foul and a D-alien. And we want to bring those worlds together as much as we can. So congrats to Mr. Foul.
All right. Very good, man. We will send you a T-shirt courtesy of Last Dive Bar. So make sure that you give us your mailing address and we will get that out there, and make sure you give us also your size. And so we will make sure we put that out there in the mail this week. And congratulations, as always. Last Dive Bar has amazing gear. They've got hoodies. They got T-shirts. They also have infield dirt for sale from the Oakland Coliseum. Yes, they have connections with one of the groundskeepers or one of the stadium ops or something like that, where they've got dirt from the infield that they are selling. They sent us a few little jars of that last week. It is pretty badass. So if you feel like you want that as a keepsake, check it out by go to lastdivebar.com, okay, and use our promo code Mothership for 15% off your order. That's right, 15% off. Use code Mothership. Check out the guys at Last Dive Bar. Brian and the gang are awesome. In fact, we're teaming up with them in 2025 for Watch DA Live merch. So keep it locked here. My thinking is March is when we will have it ready to go. So use that as a date to circle, and we will have plenty of chances for you to win cool Watch DA Live merch. And I've got a lot of good ideas. The wheels are turning, but we're going to have a whole shop and a whole to-do with inside jokes and old school references and a lot of cool artwork. I can't wait. It's been my dream to always have a merch store. I've been waiting for the right opportunity. And the guys at Last Dive Bar are helping me with that because they've got a great infrastructure and great creativity. They know what they're doing to that end. And so look for it coming up in March, perhaps by March 1st. We'll see, to get some Watch DA Live merch going. Awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. Here's another comment I wanted to get to. Wallace tweets in, DA, huge question for you. You mentioned that you and one of your buddies watched old football games on New Year's Day. What's your source for those vintage games? Late on New Year's Eve, my buddy and I were wrapping up the night. Wives had gone to bed. Some of the other peeps that were there had gone to bed. And we had a bunch of people stay at my house. And so we, of course, kept the good times rolling. And I said, you want to watch some old NFL films? And he's like, absolutely, let's do it. So broke out the YouTube app, okay, and dialed up NFL films. And I don't know how we got onto it, but usually the recommended for you is NFL films or old NFL games. And we got to the NFL Films documentary about the Fog Bowl, 1988, Eagles and Bears, Buddy Ryan versus Mike Ditka. Of course, they were at each other's throats because they had coached together on the 85 Bears, and this was a blood feud. But I'm telling you, YouTube is where it's at. It's not YouTube TV, just YouTube as on your smart TV. So we just put it up in here in the Studio DA, and had our beers, popped it on, and away you go. So if you're looking for old games, YouTube is where it's at, which is one of the reasons that I said we got to be on YouTube here in 2024, and now it's 2025, because everything's on YouTube. You can go there for a million different things, but you're always on there watching clips and watching shows and watching old archive videos. For me, I'm always digging into that war chest of old references in pop culture. So we wanted to be part of that. And you know what? That's where you can go for all of your old school NFL games, baseball games, basketball games. It's all there, and it's an awesome thing. Chris in Buffalo says, the whole city smells like Cheerios because we have a General Mills plant here. That sounds awesome. You know, once upon a time in somewhere in Jersey along Route 17, maybe Route 208 rather, or maybe it was Route 4. I don't know. I'm getting them all mixed up. But there was a Nabisco cookie plant when my parents would drive me and the family into New York City to go see my grandma. And every time passing by the Nabisco cookie plant was awesome. It smelled like cookies for like 45 seconds. You smelled warm cookies in the car. Now, they've since shuttered that factory and disassembled that plant. But, man, I remember how delicious that was. So I kind of love the idea of an entire city smelling like Cheerios. I kind of love that. Moist Pork says, DA, I'm pretty sure this morning you said you were going to burn that sweater. I probably did. I'm not going to burn it because actually it's a great keepsake in case the Lions ever win the Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl. I was really hoping to wear this in New Orleans. But what's frustrating to me is that it has Jared Goff's face on it. And I can't in good faith wear a sweater, except for today as we put the finishing touches on the Lions season. With Jared Goff, that face is bugging me so badly because of that crap performance he put out there. I say, you know what? One time now, but not until next football season do we dust off this, and that's only if Jared Goff gets his act together. CNYCC says, Western New York is a hardy group. The Bills need to win this whole thing. My goodness, do they? You know, I got nothing against the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, because the Chiefs are great. They're fun to watch. I'll tell you, this is one of the best dynasties we've seen in NFL history, and I always appreciate that. And I don't think that they've sucked the fun out of it like the New England Patriots did. But America has to want the Buffalo Bills. Unless you're a Swiftie, I'm telling you, you got to go for the Bills. The city, the fans, the team, Josh Allen, come on. What isn't there to like? And throwback uniforms? Denisio says DA's got better hair, clean cut Nick. Nick got evil villain hair in a Bad USA movie. The comparison between me and Nick Wright. Nick joined us on the show earlier in the football season. And so that's right. Nick's got longer hair. But for the moment, I've got better volume, better wave. You know, I'm an Amendolara. He's a right. Who's going to have better hair? Come on. All right. Before we get out of here, I want to get to the Little Mo laugh of the day because we got kickoff of the national championship game on the way. And the Little Mo laugh of the day comes to us courtesy of an NFL player trying to get some revenge, okay? This is pretty cool because this is Terrion Arnold running up the score on the Commanders in Madden. He's at 103-0. All right? Lions Terrion Arnold is trying to take out his anger and frustration on Madden, and he's run up the score 103-0. It certainly isn't playing in an NFC championship game, but I guess whatever works makes things a little bit easier to go to bed with. There you go. You know that Little Mo will be laughing at that. We know that, right? We absolutely know that. By the way, Daly says Peter Schwartz just signed his son as the long snapper. I'm pretty sure Pete's son is going to be like Jim Thorpe. He's going to play every position. They're just going to line him up under center. Then he's going to run the ball. Then he's going to be the long snapper. Then he's going to be the wide out. Then he's going to be the defense, nose tackle. Basically, he'll play every position at some point in time on the field. In fact, they might just suit up like 10 guys because he's going to play both ways, multiple positions on every snap. What fun! All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us on this Monday night edition of Watch DA Live. Tell your friends to come here on Sunday nights. We're back on. Well, we'll see. Next Sunday might be tough because the AFC Championship game is going on at the time. We might do another Monday night. I'll let you know on social media. Me and Aiden have to go over it. I don't want to make an executive decision without him, okay? Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks to my whole crew, which makes this show hum. Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel. Carter Bainbridge, who does all of our video work as well. Ethan Frank on video as well. Graphics, we all put it together every week. And then also with DA Deep Dives on the channel. Sift through to have reactions to all of the playoff games this weekend and college football as well. We'll start getting into non-football stuff after the season wraps up on both ends, okay? So subscribe to the channel and bring everybody you love and want to be part of this along for the ride. I will see you tomorrow morning on SiriusXM Channel 82 for the DA Show with Babchick. See you then, everybody. Have a great night. Enjoy the national championship game.